The league always gives us a kick-ass matchup for Thursday night football to start the season. And it's interesting because every part of my being wants to say, bet on Baltimore, especially when I hear everybody like, oh, this is a lock. Pat Mahomes at or less than a field goal. You just take it every single time. And I've bet on Lamar. I've made money on Lamar as an underdog for a number of years. But something over the last couple of weeks that we've talked about, Sam, it feels like a different situation. Now, that is a spot where they've gone through coaches. They've found replacements. When players have left, next man up, and with the culture and the system that they have in place are so great at evaluating talent and grooming new coaches that if there's an organization that can get away with losing as many contributors as they have, it's them. It feels like it might be too much, especially in the first game of the year when you have a new defensive coordinator visiting Patrick Mahomes. It's just about 3 everywhere. I see the Superbook is hanging at 2.5. That's the only one out there that I see. It's KC -3 against Baltimore. Anything before we have a full breakdown tomorrow? Anything that you like as far as the side?
Nothing on the side. I will bet under
Yeah.
47, though, on the total. This is sneaking back up at a lot of places. One very sharp offshore shop, 47 under -15. So that's probably the way that I'm going to look. I had thought it was going to get back up. It's the first week of football. This was sitting 46 for a lot of summer,
Mhm.
46, 46 and a half. We saw the under move down to 46. And I promise you, the public is not betting totals a week out. Last Wednesday, it's 46, some 46 and a half. Well, what do you know? NFL starts this week. I like the over. That's just kind of how it goes. So now we're seeing BetMGM 47, all these books at 47. And 47 to me is, if not the most important total, in the class photo right in front. I mean, 47 is very, very important because there are so many common landing numbers, 27, 20, 24, 23. Those are very popular final score patterns. And even 37-10, not that it's going to get that far out of reach, but there are a lot of combinations and a lot of sevens and threes that get you to 47. So I'm under in the game. I have my concerns, as we've talked about now for 3 days. I have my concerns about Baltimore's offensive line. Kansas City's defense is the best unit maybe on the field in totality. If you take both offenses and defenses and put them up against each other,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think KC's defense is the best. Um, the Chiefs are probably going to start a little slow. They've got new receivers, they've got rookie receivers. I think this is a game that's going to be lower and slower. Baltimore probably runs the ball more than they ever have because they've got Derrick Henry now, and I don't really like their talent in terms of wide receiver. This is a game that I think it's not going to be popular, and it's not to say that this game can't go over. I look at 47, and my first inclination is under. But to answer your initial question, I'm not betting the side. I saw this trend, and we were joking during the break. A lot of trends are stupid. I got a text the other day that the Lions are 4-34 against these couple teams since 1999. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They were
Yeah.
horrible. From 1999 to 2010, they sucked. They had a couple good years in the 2010s, and then they sucked again. Those
Different players,
trends mean
different
nothing.
coaches. It doesn't
Those
yeah. Wait,
trends mean nothing. And what the
yeah.
Colts did against the Lions from 1998 to 2012, Peyton Manning was the quarterback in Indianapolis. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. None of that matters. Here is a trend that does matter. How about Lamar Jackson ATS as a dog? Did you see this number on social yesterday? Lamar
Mhm.
Jackson and the Ravens ATS as a dog, 11-1-1.
I bet him every time.
11-1-1. That
Yep.
is a trend that has some staying power.
But then I could also flip it and say Patrick Mahomes as a field goal favorite or less. Like, you just bet on it. Like, you could go either way with that, and that's been very profitable over the years. But, yeah, anytime Lamar's a dog, I end up betting them, and curious how they lean on Derrick Henry. We'll full breakdown tomorrow. It's weird. So Thursday, you may right. Thursday, TNF. Monday, you might write MNF. It's weird to write down FNF. We have a Friday game in Brazil between Green Bay and Philadelphia, and the market has been going Eagles, Eagles, Eagles. Now we're out to 2.5. It was 1.5. This one also a very high total, Sam. Much higher than the Thursday game. We're at 48.5 at most spots between Green Bay and Philly. Man, I find this one tough to handicap with all the unknowns starting this thing in Brazil.
The Brazil thing just completely
Yeah,
throws me into a pretzel.
I
It's
know.
like when we first started Chicken Dinner and you somehow fell in love with the London total, and I'm like, "Don't do it. Don't we have we have no idea what's gonna happen." I'll say it right now. I don't know what's gonna happen in Brazil. I have no
I
idea.
don't know.
That would be a game that I mean, in full honesty, I'm not gonna have a single dollar on it. I'm not gonna put it in any contest. However, I did think about teasing Green Bay up. You can go through 3, 4, 7, and 8. You can get the Green Bay Packers plus 8.5. That looks like
Yes.
a pretty nice partner with my Indianapolis Colts week 1, which I can tease up now from 3 to 9. That's probably my favorite teaser. I know a lot of you still bet teasers, and hopefully you're not laying 130, 140 at some of these books. Talk
Mm-mm.
me out of a Green Bay plus 8.5 and a Colts plus 9 teaser.
I don't hate it. My hesitation with the Green Bay one is the high total. That's the I'm looking for low total games, and I don't know that I'm going to come up with a 2-team teaser. I also don't like teasers early in the season. We think we know about these teams. We have not much of an idea. We learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot after Sunday about some of these squads after the first month of the season. So I'm probably not going to tease it, but I am on board with you in saying this is a game that I'm not touching. It's not going to make a card, in an ATS contest or anything like that. It's not going to touch Survivor. Maybe there's a prop or two that I find for Friday's show. But yeah, as far as side or total, not interested.
I just looked at the numbers and we just gave
Yeah.
our power ratings. I've got the Eagles. Where do I have them? Philadelphia at a 106. I've got Green Bay at a 102.5. So
Mm-hmm.
on a neutral, I've got 106 minus 102.5. I've got 3.5. And this is, last time I checked, it's a neutral in Brazil. No home field edge either way. So if I make it 3.5 on a neutral and I can tease it up to 8.5, to me, that's a bet that I make just off the numbers.
Yep. BetQL Daily, Joe Ostrowski, Sam Panayotovich going over the week 1 card. It just feels good to do that. These can be quick hitting games, so not as big as Thursday night and Friday night with those top notch matchups that we have in those games. Let's go right down the card. Jacksonville at Miami. The Dolphins, a 3.5-point home favorite. Another high total, touching 49 at some spots.
Over game predicated on Jacksonville playing better out of the gate. I like some of the moves they made on offense. I like some of their draft picks on the offensive side of the ball. And this total opened 49.5. Basically still hanging around that number. Some 48.5, some 49, some 49.5. Lean to Jacksonville, lean to the over. But again,
Change.
nothing that I really love in this game. I
Yeah.
would think there's some correlation between Jacksonville and the over.
Yeah, I don't think this is touching 3. They've got the number at the right spot at 3.5. If it does, people are going to jump all over Miami. If they need Miami money, which I don't expect them to need, because early in the season, people love to bet on the Dolphins, good weather. Uh, yeah, there's probably going to be points in that one, and that makes sense. Dolphins defensive coordinator change. Christian Wilkins no longer there. So they're going to need some of the youth that you talked about earlier to come through on the defensive end. But Dolphins usually start out pretty hot offensively. So I get your point there. Pittsburgh, Atlanta. This total has been dropping a little bit. Now we're 3.5. Oh man, they're betting on Atlanta that much. Some of these shops putting up a 3.5. It was 2.5 not too long ago. So let's call it a juice 3. Total 42, down from 43. Anything here?
Hmm. Hmm.
Pittsburgh or
Probably
nothing?
under.
Pittsburgh or
I was going to
pass?
say under or nothing.
Yeah, I get that. It's also in the dome. Let's talk about unknowns. Like, I don't, is there a Justin Fields package? Some people will buy into Arthur Smith revenge. whatever. The Falcons defense knows him. It just as we get closer to this game, I don't like it. But if it's 3.5, I'm going to be tempted by Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin as a dog of more than a field goal to start the season. And it depends your opinion of Atlanta. If you rank them as a high team, then maybe you'd be willing. I'm not laying 3.5 with Atlanta to start Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles.
I told you, people in the Philly camp are already talking about NFC title game. People in the Pittsburgh camp are talking about a 2-0 start. So that's the difference between the two fan bases right now.
No,
Eagles, Super Bowl. Steelers, 2-0.
this one's gross. Probably the last team in their respective divisions. Vikings at the Giants. The Vikings are a road favorite. It's 1.5, a low total of 41. Daniel Jones versus Sam Darnold.
I choose bleach on this
Pass.
one.
Pass.
Bleach. No,
Total pass.
just bleach. Just drink the bleach rather than bet it.